I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo.
And you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit bpm.fm to discover more.
Hi, my name is Aneesa Folds.
And I'm Anthony Veneziale. And you're listening to the Theater Podcast with Alan Seals.
Alan Seals.
I'll use it. Hey everyone, welcome to the Theater Podcast. I am your host, Alan Seals, and our guests for this episode are just two of my favorite people. And I get into this in the episode, but the Freestyle Love Supreme crew, anybody that is part of that core is just some of the nicest, most human humans that you ever get to human with. Anyway, it's with Anthony Veneziale, aka Two Touch, a Tony Award-winning co-creator of Freestyle Love Supreme and a pioneer in using freestyle and improv for brain science and community building. This dude's phenomenal. He first joined me back in episode 113, and also with Aneesa Folds, aka Young Niece. It's the breakout star of Freestyle Love Supreme on Broadway, and she was last with me in episode 62. Now the two of them are collaborating on a bold new musical called Co-Founders, premiering at ACT in San Francisco. And the tech behind this, aside from the fact that it's going to be a great story with amazing music, of course, the tech behind this is, it's using like Avatar level real-time rendering powered by Unreal Engine. The nerds out there know what I'm talking about. To do real-time motion capture and bring this to life all on stage, it just sounds amazing. It's unlike anything else that I've heard of at this point. But just a little editing warning, Anthony was having some construction work done on his house during the interview, so you can hear a little bit of extra banging and some extra noises behind him as he speaks sometimes. So make sure to find me on social media. I'm on all the platforms, I think. Go to Patreon or Spotify to watch the video version of this episode. Please leave a 5-star review if you're on a platform that allows ratings. And now everybody, please enjoy this episode with Anthony Veneziale and Aneesa Folds.
Here you go. 1, 2, 3.
Today we're joined by two wildly creative forces who each bring their own flavor of genius to the stage, and they are returning guests to the podcast. Anthony Veneziale, aka Two Touch, is a Tony-winning co-creator of Freestyle Love Supreme, and a pioneer in using improv and freestyle to unlock creativity, community, and even brain science. He first joined me back at episode 113, and I'm thrilled to welcome him back. Aneesa Folds, aka Young Niece, is a breakout star, probably the most breaky outest of starist from Freestyle Love Supreme on Broadway way. Who we should remember back from episode 62. By the way, this episode's going to be in like the 390s, so we've come a long way. Now they're teaming up again in a new musical called Co-Founders. It's brand new, hip-hop, premiering at ACT in San Francisco. It's part tech satire, part heart-filled anthem for community, and it uses immersive visuals and Bay Area hip-hop to tell a story about two unlikely entrepreneurs navigating privilege, purpose, and possibility. Holy shit, guys. Anthony and Aneesa, welcome back to the Theater Podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Dude, so I gotta know, how have your dorsolateral prefrontal cortex has been since we last spoke?
Oh, wow. The judging brain, it never runs out of judgment, does it? But yeah, I would say it's a healthy dose of trying to say ethical planning, because we have this new show, and I am incredibly blessed to have Aneesa be a part of this show, and she makes the show infinitely better. And anyone who's ever seen Aneesa knows this very, very deep in their soul, that this person is incredibly talented and just can carry a show, and she does.
I'm grateful to be here.
Oh my goodness. Well, for those who don't know, check back to episode 113. Anthony and I got into the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. You went on an MRI machine. You had your brain scanned while you were improvising. It's incredible. Go back, listen to that episode. And then Aneesa, like, when I say you are the breaky-outiest, starriest of FLS, like, I first saw Freestyle Love Supreme on Broadway with you as part of the cast, and literally was going home for weeks saying, this one woman in this show blew me away with everything that popped out of her mouth. You got to go see the show. You got to go see the show. And I didn't realize that it was a rotating cast. So like some of my friends I sent, like, probably didn't see you. But so sorry if you're listening. But so I know, like, Anthony, you founded FLS Academy, which, Aneesa, you were part of the Academy, which was the feeder for so many other things. So how did that lead you into co-founders working together? Because, Anthony, you're a exec producer on this, and Aneesa,
he's been
you're
a part
in
of
the
it for
cast.
how many years, Anthony? Like a while.
Yeah, I've been working on this show, creative producing and producing it for 8 years.
8 years. Well, I guess that's pretty standard for a Broadway show these days.
Yeah,
So,
it's a labor of love and like a long journey. It's really awesome because I came on 2 years ago, I think, in the first workshop, and was introduced to Asada, and Anthony was just like, we have this project. I've been working on it for a really long time, and I think you'd be great for it. And as soon as I was connected with the writers, I was like, oh, this is really special. And to get to be a part of the process and the journey just from those 2 years, to see how much it's grown and how much it is continuing to grow and how much of a love letter it is to the Bay, and just learning so much and really being able to immerse myself in the culture and the music. It's been really fun.
was it interesting in a positive way or interesting in a negative way to focus on something for 8 years, to try to do the same thing for 8 years?
Yeah,
Instead of improvising every night.
Oh gosh. Oh yeah. Like the difference, right, between a fully improvised show and a show that is written. You know, when I was in the early days.
Thanks for phrasing my question a lot better than I asked
No,
it. By the way.
please stop it.
I got your back.
Oh, I've got yours. I will lift you up. I'll not let you fall. I would say that it really reminds me a lot of when I was working on In the Heights. So very early days of In the Heights, I was sort of one of the first, like, let's call it helpful producer-like type of people during the experimental version of it before the commercial rights ever got sold to Jeffrey Seller, Kevin McCollum, and Jill Furman. And that really is about finding the right team. And that can take a long time, right? So the part of musical theater that is the hardest, or like I think the one that's the most obfuscated, is this concept of how do you possibly have all of those skill sets, right? Like think about Lynn, and then think about Alex Latimore and Bill Sherman and Tommy Kail and Kiara Hudis. Like they all came together to form something bigger than themselves individually. And that's not something that's hard. that is like, there's a lot of science involved in getting the right people. And, you know, you find them. It takes time. It doesn't just happen right away. So that's a big part of this process too, is finding the right collaborators to push the form and each other towards a perfect union of what this possible show can be. And I love it. I love that part of musicals. It's very, very time consuming.
Yeah.
Is there like elephants moving bookshelves in behind you somewhere? What's going on?
I love elephants.
We've been, my house is under construction. We found out that we had no foundation in the back of our house, and we're in San Francisco. So we had to re-pour like 6 meters on both sides of the back of our house. Anyway, it's, I will not bore you with all of the wonderful minutia of construction that's happening. I mean,
that's a solid metaphor for life. Like if you don't have a good foundation, you gotta re-pour 6 meters on both sides and then bring Aneesa in.
Yeah,
exactly.
Hello?
So Aneesa comes in 2 years ago. Aneesa, like why was 2 years ago the right time to bring her in? What did she bring? What did she add to this?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we knew at some point that it would go from just being sort of like a Silicon Valley satire, which is how it kind of started. And it started from these incredible startup entrepreneurs who would get together and do freestyle sessions. So I think that's how I kind of got dragged into it. Bo Lewis, who helped to start a company with his incredible partner and wife, Debbie, they created something called Goldie Blocks. For those of you who are fans or might know about it, it's an incredible company that brings STEM toys to girls because there aren't many science and or math-based games / toys that were inclusive of young girls. There was still the pink aisle, right, at most giant stores and toy stores.
Right.
And they were very much about how a girl is supposed to appear. So Bo helped with Debbie to launch that company. And during it, you know, like any startup, you go through trials and tribulations. And as a man in this world, we have very few places to talk about those vulnerabilities and coming up short. But in these freestyle sessions, he got a really good chance to find out what his voice was around musicality and hip hop. And then he took all of those lessons to create this first version of the show, which was called Zip Sloth very early on. It was about an app delivery service, expedited sloth delivery to your house. So it was a send up, right? And at some point, we found a way to collaborate with Adisha Adefela, who is an incredible vocalist and theater and performer and vocalist in the Bay Area in Oakland. And she and her pedigree and Bo, it was like that moment, right? When you feel like, oh, right, the chemistry is starting to come together. Mad science. Yay. And they started pushing each other. And then Ryan Nicole got involved. And it turned into be a show about a young Black woman in Oakland who hacks her way into an accelerator program. For those of you listening who don't know what an accelerator program are, it's basically big, giant companies trying to make new versions of smaller companies that can become billion-dollar companies. You're trying to create unicorns, for lack of a better term. And we knew we had the perfect human being to be that young coder from Oakland, and it was Aneesa.
Well,
I mean, Aneesa's won all the coding awards. Top
I love
coder.
math.
I love math. Full stop.
I did a lot of research. I had to do a lot of research to understand what the heck I'm talking about, because she says so much jargon and gibberish to me, and all of these tech words, and I'm rapping at lightning speed, just all of these tech words, and at first I was just like, I don't know. But my sister came to see the show, and she's like, "You're like one of the doctors on Grey's Anatomy." Because I'm like, oh my God, I would never want to be one of those actors. You just it's constant science and math and medical terms that you're just saying, and it's like it doesn't land, but it does help to know what you're talking about. I'm learning a lot.
Well, and so Alan, if I may, just very quickly too. What Aneesa went through with Freestyler Supreme, and then, like you're saying, being the breakoutiest of stars, that's an enormous amount of pressure for a young woman or any human being. But for this particular person, Aneesa, who did not see herself in musical theater reflected in any way, and I've heard her tell that story a few times in Freestyler Supreme, so forgive me for using stories that I've heard from Aneesa to help to craft this story. But ultimately, that pressure of like, you're the next big thing, that's what this person's going through inside of this show. And that, to me, was more of the universal truth of why Aneesa was the perfect person. Not that we need a scalpel incision under the scapula for a 3.5 millimeter surgery, right? Like, it didn't have to be gobbledygook. It had to do with that human emotion that is deeply inside, that I think really Aneesa was exactly facing in her life as well.
Mm-hmm. Did you bring that? Did you feel that? Actually, I want when you were in the FLS world and it was on Broadway and everyone I know was talking about you, Aneesa, legitimately. Like, did you feel a lot of that, or did you just not find out about it until after it was all done and you're like, whoa, I just survived.
I don't know. I think it's so hard to feel anything when you're in a show that requires you to be so present. I think that the biggest lesson I've learned from Freestyle Love Supreme is that, no matter what you're going through, no matter what's happening, when you get on that stage, you're so in the moment. And it really taught me to be the most present. And I think that it really was, as someone who went to school for theater and studied it and did all this stuff, I don't know that anything really clicked until I started doing that show, because it taught me so much about myself. It taught me so much about how to show up on stage, how to work with other people, how to listen in ways that I didn't know, I just didn't have access to before. And from there, I think that's when I've really started to build. And yeah, I know it was a big deal, but I don't know. It takes me a while to process things. So I do believe it is what you said. I think it was after the fact, even the New York Times article they did a profile on me, and I spent a lot of time in that interview just being like, I don't know, this is crazy, right? You're sitting across from me. We're in a diner. You're from the New York Times, and the whole article is just it's like, Aneesa Folds, can't believe she's here. Now, me and as I've grown and I'm wiser, I'm like, no, you are supposed to be here. And it's that is, again, the the plot for Asada. It's like, am I supposed to be here? Wait, I am supposed to be here. I deserve a seat at the table. I need to invite other people to the table. Let's change what tech looks like. Let's diversify it and change how we approach it in these communities and in these places and in these spaces. And I think that it's such a testament to what's happening in real time, in real life, what's going on with AI, what's going on in the Bay Area, and
right.
who is allowed and who's invited. And why shouldn't it be everyone? Why shouldn't it be the community? And then it's also about the theater and like how the access to arts is different from New York than it is in San Francisco. And like working with these writers, it's been so amazing to me how they really ride for the community. They are such ride or dies for this community. And there's so many artists that I've been introduced to that are here in the Bay right now that are not getting the same attention, not getting the same platform, and the way that they have, done their community outreach and they're out the garages and bringing those people into the spaces and being like, yeah, this show is happening, but here are these other people that let's highlight these artists and these artists. I just think it's so special. And yeah, my heart is in it because of the people that are putting their hearts and their souls into it.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to the episode. Since I interviewed the two of you, I've interviewed so many other people who have passed through the halls of FLS or FLS Academy, like Tommy Kail and JMI. And I haven't had the privilege of having Chris Jackson on the podcast yet, but I've met him in person, and legitimately just like every single person. And Anthony, I think I said this to you when we were on it. It's just like everybody is so damn nice to each other and actually supportive. Not like, I'm going to be nice because I need something from you, but legitimately you all care about each other.
Oh, yeah.
And to put that into a room, a creative space, to make a safe space, to feel okay.
And it matters. It's not always like that. That is not always like that. And as I'm learning and coming up and speaking with different younger artists and, giving back, it's not always like that. So when you have it, you hold on to it and you take that into every space you go into. Super important.
Yeah. Are you leading, Anthony, like as one of the lead producers on this, executive producers? Are you trying to talk to the other people who may not have the direct FLS overlap or the direct improv skills to make sure that they kind of follow this mindset?
Well, and that's a good question. I mean, I think I know the creators, and I've been a part of their journey for a while, and it's very much baked into that DNA. And I think, the hope is that I can't be as quite hands-on with the cast. That's just not my job. But Jamil, the director, goes, I think, even beyond maybe like what some humble concepts and core values that we have. I mean, being in that room with Jamil and the way he very carefully brings that cast together, gets people's full buy-in. There's a lot of circle work, right? Where everybody's in a circle and everyone's occupying the same space. No one is a bigger deal than anyone else in that room. And that's like another super important part of like these core values. So yeah, I mean, you do your best to try to identify that and then continue to put those people together. But Aneesa is actually probably a better person to ask that question. Aneesa, what do you think, like the cast, like how's that going?
I agree with what you said. I think Jamil is such a great, wonderful leader. And, this show has so many moving pieces to make a show. There's so much happening, especially when you add the layers of tech and just all of the incredible, work that the crew is doing. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. And you have to be someone who's jumping double dutch while also, I mean, Jamil is also the artistic director of a whole other theater, and it's crazy to watch how he works because he's so calm, and everyone just kind of comes into him and you trust him. And I think that they really put together a team of humans that are kind and good and talented, and everyone is super respectful, and we're all in it together. We're in previews, so things happen. This is the part where we're doing the show, but we're still learning, we're figuring it out, we're making changes, and sometimes things can go wrong. And we had a note session the other day, we were talking about, there were some issues that happened, and I just raised my hand. I was like, I just want to say I would not want to be on stage with any other company right now. Just what was happening in the moment, I felt so supported by everyone on every single team, everyone that was around me. And it made me feel like, okay, let's do it. Let's keep going. And, you know, to the audience, it was a great show. To us, we know what went wrong, but we couldn't have done it without the support of each other. And I think that the team that we have is really special.
Do you still secretly ache for those moments when you can make up a line and it's like, I want it to go wrong so I can just cover for it?
Listen, I think all shows should be improvised. So, it's crazy to go from doing Freestyle of Supreme to like go back to doing a script. It is different.
It's two different parts of your brains.
It's
like
so different.
Scientifically, I mean, so Anthony's nodding his head on mute very, very politely. I mean, he's proven it. This is different parts of your brain that get activated when you're singing, speaking, and improvising, right?
Yeah, and the goal I still think for acting is to try to find the version of your flow state, right? Like, so like the best for me, anytime I see a show and I'm like, oh, it feels effortless, right? There's something about it that feels as though it's the first time, as we all know. So the illusion of the first time, and getting to a place in your brain that feels like I'm not muscling them. There's no effort being put in here. It's just at the ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Alan, I will say this show, like Aneesa's being, you know, the cast, the way that they're able to incorporate all of the many different components of this show, it's a bit mind-boggling. So let me just quickly walk through, like, here's some of the tech layered into the show.
This was my next question.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Perfect. So we have an AI character who appears in many places on the stage. So we've got scrims happening with projectors. Sure, that happens in theater, cool. But what doesn't typically happen in theater is you don't have cameras backstage on the actor who is then being in real time conveyed in those different spots on the scrims. We have the Unreal Engine is what it's called, which is a gaming engine. It's set up
out for Unreal, 20 years ago. I used it in college.
Exactly. So, and it's only
longer than that. I'm older than 20. Okay.
Stop it. 16 years ago.
Stop.
It has only gotten better and better since, it originally came out. But, imagine any first-person shooter type game. It has assets that live inside of an environment, right? And so I'm in this environment. Now think of The Mandalorian or, anything Jon Favreau has done in the last 15 years. He's like, let's just go to this giant, it's called a volume, these giant screens that surround us. And I built it out. It's all rendered. We can be anywhere in the galaxy, right? We can be on Tatooine, and that visual image can be around you. So the Unreal Engine inside of the show has Oakland and the Bay Area and San Francisco mapped inside of it. And it can allow our characters to be dropped almost anywhere inside of those assets.
My God, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So you're basically offstage doing motion capture.
Correct.
Projecting, you're doing mocap offstage, projecting it on stage with real-time, ultra-high-def graphics, because Unreal has changed how mocap's done.
Yes.
Rendering it in real time. Oh my God.
Yes. So the characters.
I wish I lived in San Francisco.
I know. You got to. All right. We'll share something with you soon. We're still honing all that kind of stuff. And then you've got video calls that are happening in real time as well. There's people backstage who are having these moments because phone stuff is always just fallen so flat, and there's that joke, right? Romeo and Juliet on phones. It's like one text and everything ends fine.
Right.
So texts pop up, trains go across the stage in the foreground and in the background. There's a lot of visual interaction stuff here for the audience to grasp onto that doesn't feel like any traditional theater I've ever been a part of.
Wow. Is it true motion capture backstage? So literally doesn't matter where the camera's pointed, you can't see behind it. It's literally rendering the background behind it in real time based on where the computer says you are. Yeah, that's the best. So literally you can just walk around in an untreated space. You don't need a pretty background at all. It's just we know where your reference points are. Somebody's wearing a suit with some balls on it. It's a male suit, obviously.
Yeah.
And
well, the great news is it's not even, you don't even need to have the suit anymore. It's literally, because the body stuff is controlled by literally a video game controller. So the actor is backstage. It's just his face on a camera phone that's got, and the algorithms are so good that it knows exactly the folds of your face and what are being altered. And it maps the face onto it while he controls the video game controller for the body.
That's some James Cameron Avatar tech right there.
Exactly. So imagine creating a fluid motion capture movie with a new musical being staged. And that's what we're doing for our show, which meant tech lasted 10 times longer than any tech I've ever been a part of.
How do you rehearse that?
Exactly.
You rehearse it. And
Oh,
you flip
okay.
it and you reverse it. And they call hold and you stand on stage for an hour, just standing there, all figured out. The team is working. They're working hard. But, as we said, there's so many moving parts there.
I mean, there's got to
crazy.
be plans. There's got to be plans to bring this to New York. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Yes.
Yeah. So we're inviting, some
gosh.
people to come see it and doing our best to send the materials out because, as you said, it's right around Tony time. I don't know when this is going to air, but yeah, the hope is that we get a commercial production after this one in some way, shape, or form, and it looks very possible. So we'll see.
It's phenomenal. And what's the feedback been so far? You just opened previews as we're recording this. You're in previews. Obviously, like the tech is heavy, so we don't know what's messing up. But like, what's the audience feedback like? Because I always love the first week of previews because the audience is always the final character. So you got to change things you didn't realize you had to change.
I love when the audience comes in because you're correct. They are the final character. You're finding out what are the beats, what are the things that work, and discovering new things with them. The feedback has been really awesome. People are really enjoying it, especially people that are from here. And then just finding the different things that we're referencing throughout the show that mean a lot to them. And then my favorite is when the nerds show up. I can say it now because I'm a nerd. I play a nerd, but I'm like, oh, you guys got that one, huh? I didn't know that was funny, but I love it. It's really cool. It's like, okay, the tech is really working, and it speaks to different communities, and I love that because what we're trying to do is bring those communities together. And so it's really fascinating to see what we're discovering in real time. We always laugh about it backstage.
Yeah,
that's it's funny. Things that you didn't know, like you're saying things you didn't know you were saying, like the doctor on Grey's Anatomy. Then all of a sudden you're getting a laugh. You're like, oh, I didn't realize that W get from my terminal to the U. Like all that stuff. Just like what? No, totally.
I will say the feedback also, Alan, it's just so encouraging because.
Yeah.
Look, the Bay Area has been through a lot. And the pandemic and whatever the right-wing media has decided to label our country as dead, as a zombie apocalypse, as, this is the epitome of what terrible governance looks like. You name it, people have said it about San Francisco in the last 4 or 5 years. And that is an outward perception, right? And Oakland in particular has always been a phoenix that has risen from any ashes it's ever gone through. And not only that, but the forefront of activism. So to have this show use activism to address as well what is the elephant in the room here for all of us that are dealing with the Doge cuts and the Elon Musks becoming the villains of the world. Tech has unwieldily put wealth again into the 0.001%'s hands. Mm-hmm. And that cannot be the way that humanity gets forward. It just can't. We can't have 99.99999% of the population only have less than 1% of the wealth. There's got to be another way. And San Francisco, a lot of this tech started to do that, right? They were trying to take down Wall Street because it was so Brahmin and dynastic wealth, and it was trying to spread the wealth. Cool. New technology helped to at least start that, but then it got absolutely used in capitalistic endeavors again. Let's get that message out in the world that says, hey, there are other alternatives to late stage capitalism. There's a way to actually have people experience wealth in communities when something comes from that community, not just an individual out of that community. And people are really responding to that.
That's really well put. And to see this on stage with people who may not look like them succeeding in a way that they're not used to seeing. It's got to mean so much to people, especially, like on the West Coast, where the Bay Area, not a lot of theater originates there. Not a lot of like big musical theater, So you're bringing a new message in a style that you don't see. Like you're combining so many different things that you don't see to put together this perfect package.
Yeah. Knock on wood. That's the hope.
Yeah.
Well, like Anthony, how do you sort of balance the still being entertaining with this message of activism? Because usually they don't go hand in hand.
Yeah, I mean, music will and always be the spear, the tip of the spear for social change. And hip hop is, music of the disenfranchised, right? Like it is a black and brown art form that started in the Bronx in the 70s. 50 years going strong of hip hop. And Bay Area hip hop is absolutely activism. It is you will see me, I will be seen and be heard, I will occupy space, and I deserve wealth, right? Like hip hop is an incredible tool and way to sort of convey that message. And so we did the most obvious thing, which is to use the language of hip hop and Bay Area hip hop too, right? Like it's not just any hip hop. Like Bay Area is such a wealth and beautiful community around hip hop that has made it
so unique.
Yeah.
And also has contributed to so much of our hip hop culture as well. And I don't think that we recognize that enough.
Yeah.
And so I think that is really awesome too, just how much it is featured and how it is so rooted in the town and what that music sounds like.
Well, I've been East Coast my entire life, and not typically. I only listen to hip hop that makes it into I don't know any other way to say this, but into white culture, right? Like that kind of breaks through into what you call what's controlling the media, which is normally old white men, right? So, what's the difference? Explain it to me. Like, what's the difference in Bay Area hip hop versus the hip hop that I may know about? I mean, like, for example, I just got turned on to Tribe Called Quest recently. I can't stop listening to that, right? And I'm just like, this has been around for years. Why has no one ever played it for me?
You gotta just start listening to stuff on your own. That's what it is.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Well, how do I say it? I don't know. I think that it's a sound. I don't know that I could explain it to you. I think it's like when you hear a certain style of like Hispanic music. It's there's the bachata versus the reggaeton. It's like the boom bap versus the way that the drums sound. It's the way that you might hear Jersey club versus Baltimore club. Like it's a very unique sound that is authentic to the Bay Area. And if you hear it and you know what it is, you know what it is. If you know, you know.
Yeah. And Alan, I'll try to do my 25-cent version of it all, right? Which is, yes, East Coast, the Bronx, Boogie Down, and then even Brooklyn, and that battle started, right? And it was like East Coast, New York, this is where hip hop is born. This can only be where hip hop is from. And then you slowly start to get other sounds popping up as well, right? Now we're starting to talk about West Coast sounds. You're talking about, sure, Death Row, but even before that, I mean, like, we name check some of these people inside of the show, right? And he's like Chuck G, like Too Short. Yeah. You've got a whole movement out here of people whose sound is affected by the region, right? Digital Underground, Tupac, like, so regionalism starts to become a pretty big thing inside of hip hop. Then thereafter, we're talking late 70s, early 80s. Those regionalisms start to affect the sound, right? So Parliament, P-Funk, that sound is what informs West Coast rap a bit more, especially out of LA. Out of the Bay, you've got a little bit more like soul funk and like just, Bay has a lot of jazz history too. So you start getting off, like it's not like what Aneesa is saying there, like the way the rap lands it's a scam.
It's just, yeah.
It's not straight, right? It's not East Coast. I'm setting up a bar, it ends at the 2, and now I'm delivering on the 4, right? Like that's very East Coast traditional. This like slant rhymes really, I think, huge in the Bay Area. Also, like just there's this whole hyphy culture that then starts as well in the 90s, and like it and turfing then starts too, which is we're still here, we still matter. This is our turf, this is our area. Like you need to respect that. And then Atlanta becomes like a pretty big sound, and the Dungeon Family, and you got, you know, Outkast, and you got CeeLo, and you've got Goody Mob. Like that whole sound becomes a bit more like gospel and Bible type, almost inspired hip hop. Same with Houston now, a kind of slightly different like baptism version of it. And like it's fascinating, all these small differences and nuances that add to where did that sound come from, and why did it then become musicalized. And our show tries to pay honor to that journey throughout the 2 acts as well.
And it's not just, you know, hip hop. It is very hip hop leaning forward, but there's all of these different styles. There's your gospel. It does take you back to like your old school West Coast hip hop, and then it gets into your new school West Coast hip hop, and then there's like a little bit of pop, there's a little bit of, you know, it's something for everybody. So I think that everyone that comes can take something. Everybody's gonna take something from it. Everyone's gonna take something away from it.
So really Alan, for example, the name Wozniak, right? Like pretty well known in the tech world. Sure. And the name Wozniak, gosh, that's a mouthful, pretty straightforward. On the East Coast, you would probably rap it like Wozniak, right? It would be what it is. On the West Coast, it's 76 was Niak and Jobs. There's a way to elongate, stretch out, on, you know, get it off of your typical sort of straight cadence. And that's the kind of stuff that's just like, oh, that's so unique and so Bay Area unique. And that's the thing that we're really exploring, which is why did technology develop the way it did? And why did music develop the way it did? And how do they maybe push each other?
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to the episode. This is just like a whole path, a whole genre that I've never been exposed to before. Like, did you figure this out? Did you look for it and educate yourself, or did you take classes on this? Like, when you're literally looking, like, even for the music that I listen to every day, I couldn't tell you the difference between like East Coast alternative and West Coast pop and Michigan doo-wop. I don't know. Like, all this stuff doesn't make sense to me.
Eyes for tech and math and whatever else you're into, and we have eyes for music, and it just is something that is, I think, is ingrained in you, and I think Anthony's doing a good job at explaining it and dissecting it in a way that makes sense to someone like yourself who might want a deeper understanding of what that is. But yeah, I think it's just a feeling. It's like, yeah, I don't know. For me, I just feel it. I can hear the differences. I can feel it with the rhythms and how the music moves. So it just makes sense as is. But yeah, I think once you listen to it and start to compare, you can hear the influences of each from each other, which is what it is, right? It's people want to do the East Coast, West Coast, whatever. It was just people influencing each other across the way. Like, no, there's one doesn't exist without the other. And that really is what it comes down to.
Actually,
I think.
I watch a lot of home improvement shows, and I can see, depending on where they're filming, it's like, oh, we're West Coast shiplap, or and Anthony's gone. We bored him too much. No, I totally get that, because like with construction, the designs are influenced locally. With food, oh, he's back. He's back with a book.
I mean, there's so many great books, right, to kind of dig into some of these things, right? Ode to Hip Hop, 50 albums that define 50 years of trailblazing music is a Bible for me. I love that particular book. If you're just getting the Tribe Called Quest, you are in luck. Hanif Abdurraqib, maybe one of the best authors in this right now, wrote a book called Carry On in the Rain, Letters to a Tribe Called Quest. And Hanif writes about music in a way I've never, ever seen anybody or read anybody else that writes about music this way. It unlocks an entire cultural experience for him every time he listens to a song, and he puts it into words in poetry. So please do yourself a favor, read Carry On in the Rain, Letters to A Tribe Called Quest by Hanif Abdurraqib, because A, it will move you to tears, and B, it will also just give you a glimpse into the Black art form of hip hop and how it sort of transcends and transmutes what the experience is to be a Black person in America. Because that, like, and I'm not trying to put so much on this art form, which is hip hop. It's supposed to be all these different things. And most importantly, it's supposed to be for youth and people who are disenfranchised. So the hip hop that I love and grew up with isn't what it should sound like now. It should always be reinventing itself, I think, and I hope, and that's like the point of it. And the goal around paying tribute and honor to hip hop in this way, for me, always gets back to the same question, which is how do we take the things that are broken or broken inside of us and use it to make the world better? And hip hop demonstrates that, I think, better than almost anything else in the world.
I don't know why that's making me cry. Excuse me, but it is. And imagine if our administration was run by FLS Academy members. Good God. The amount of good we could do, the amount of help, the amount of growth. Oh my God. Yeah, I love it. And I'm in my head so much. And this is why, like, I remember, Anthony, like, our interview still stands out to me. I still quote it to people. And you know, the duodenal prefrontal cortex and, you know, all the removing inhibitions. But the way that FLS does... It seems hard, hardcore. It seems rough. It seems like, you know, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but on the inside, on the outside, it's very well put together. It's rough. It's hard. And on the inside, it is so soft and sensitive and accepting and loving, and just the way. But watching the two of you, any of you that are in this world, talk about what you love, like you're talking about your love for hip hop. I'm literally like tearing up because you just frickin' love the message it brings to everybody so much. And I love watching somebody who's passionate about anything. That just makes it hits me in my all my feels. But I'm so in my head most of the time. That's why I love improvising, because, like Aneesa, you said, you got to be present. You got to forget everything, leave it all at the door, and trust people, trust friends in a way that sometimes you can't have the courage to do in any other setting. Makes you better, makes them better. And because I'm in my head so much, like sometimes Tribe Called Quest, what really got me into loving them is that I will take an edible. I'll take 10 milligram edible and I will let it kick in and turn the lights down about halfway and just lay on my couch and just, I feel it. I feel the lyrics, if that makes sense. And just
100%.
And like that's I don't know if that's like me in my mid 40s now. I'm 44 now. I wasn't before, but like I feel this music in a way that I never used to allow myself to anymore.
Yeah, if I may.
Before, not anymore. Before.
Yeah. And you know, Q-Tip and Phife Dawg and Ali Shaheed Muhammad, the way that they combined to sort of create, I think, like a pretty incredible expression of hip hop as well. A lot of people will label it and call it conscientious hip hop or all these other kinds of things. But really, Alan, what it's doing is it's centralizing it's Afrocentristic. It's coming from a Black experience first and foremost, and it's not letting the European theory or theology around what racism and race is supposed to be, and it's embracing in some ways this concept that they pushed early on, the Zulu nation of it all, right? Which is like, how do we say that we are perfect as we are, as a race here in this country? And is race even a thing? It's something that's been totally invented. Why was it invented?
It's a construct.
It was a construct so that Belgian, people who were colonizing could literally not feel bad about enslaving others. Again, that is the only reason why race exists. So the music that you're listening to is a world in which I want to exist in, which is it's not one divided by race. It's one that says we all succeed when we just see each other's humanity.
And this is why The interviews with the two of you and others from FLS still stick out because we dive into the stuff that is so different and special. You two are great people. Your peers are great people. All right. So, everyone go see Co-Founders at the ACT in San Francisco. It's a limited run, so go get it. If you're a producer listening to this, reach out. Let's get a commercial production going in New York, because bring it here, folks. All right. So normally I end with a typical plot in 60 seconds now, where you give me a number, corresponds to a show, you give me the plot to that musical in 60 seconds. But I figured with the two of you, we can make up the whole musical, and then you give me the plot.
Oh my God.
All right. So, title creation. Let's make up a brand new musical together. Let's say, first, give me a random word that sounds like it could be in a Broadway show title.
Zebra.
Zebra? All right. Anthony, give me an unrelated word or phrase.
Desperate.
Desperate. And then, okay, so give me an adjective.
No.
Mystical, magical.
Okay, we're going mystical. Okay, so the title of our musical is Mystical Desperate Zebras.
Wow.
And so setting the scene. So where is this musical set? This can be real or fiction, past or future. Let's see. So choose a setting. Give me a location.
Missouri.
Where?
Missouri.
Missouri, what year?
2027.
Okay, we got two main characters, one who drives the action and one who definitely doesn't want to be involved but somehow gets pulled in. What's one of those? What are their names? Any random names?
Jody.
Jody, all right. Jodi. I like that.
Felix.
And Felix.
Felix. All right, Jody and Felix. Now I'm putting 60 seconds up on the screen. And so you are going to have 60 seconds to give me the plot to Mystical Desperate Zebras, set in Missouri 2027, following the characters Jody and Felix. You ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Kick us off, Anthony. Go.
60 seconds remaining.
We open on a beautiful, wide, dusty street in Missouri. There's a young woman named Jody walking down the street with a zebra tied behind her.
Aneesa.
They are in Missouri,
45
and
seconds remaining.
she is going to head to a place where there are a bunch of horses. When she walks in, everyone stops and goes, "What's that?"
Anthony.
It turns out that all zebras have been eradicated
30
from the
seconds
earth
remaining.
in 2026 due to an environmental catastrophe caused by the administration. And this is the only zebra left on the whole planet.
Aneesa.
They say, where did you find that thing? Where did you get it? And she looks them in the eyes, and the
15
first
seconds remaining.
start of the first musical number starts. And she sings a beautiful ballad about how she met Felix.
And that ballad starts with Anthony.
These eyes have seen me in a basement.
3, 2, 1.
All right.
Got it under the wire.
That's it. These Mystical Desperate Zebras with the hit song. These eyes have seen me in a basement.
Love that.
I like it. All right. So now we'll just go back to our random standard closing questions that you both answered so many years ago, but now we'll ask it again because times they are a-changin'. Aneesa, for you simply, what motivates you?
What motivates me? Little me. She didn't know I don't know. She would believe that this is happening right now. So I'm just carrying on for her. There's a lot going on in the world, and I'm really trying to stay optimistic. And I do believe that the arts will save us. And when things are going wrong, we just got to keep making art and keep sharing in community and gathering people. And I really do owe all of my growth and my centeredness, the centeredness that I'm finding right now, doing the show to her.
Anthony, what about you? What motivates you?
What motivates me
Besides that foundation work.
Finishing the bandsaw work motivates me. In all seriousness, what motivates me is the concept of using improvisation. This is not usable sound at all. I think they're going to be done in like 10 seconds. I'm so sorry. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Okay.
Bringing improv to as many people as possible on this planet, because I do believe that humans need each other and they need to connect through play.
Good timing. All right. So since we got bandsaw over there with Anthony again, Aneesa, back to you. What advice would you give to your younger self and younger people listening now, starting out down a similar path?
Oh, look at that. What's for you is for you is for you. Try not to get caught up in the plans that you make for yourself. Life happens, things happen. Try to go with the flow. Anxiety is the fear of the unknown. Life is unknown. We would be anxious all the time. I am, but that's okay. You're gonna figure it out because life is gonna happen whether you plan for it or not. So just try to let go and just go along for the ride. The best days of your lives are coming, and thank God you're here to see what happens next.
Yeah, I love it. It's so genuine. All right, Anthony, do we dare take you off mute again?
Oh, we're good. We're good. Dear Lord. Advice to others starting out.
Yeah, to your younger self. To your younger self.
To my younger self. Oh my gosh. Yeah. The advice to my younger self is the mistakes are probably the most perfect moments in your life. Find the people that understand your imaginative play space and continue to make things with them for the rest of your life.
I love that. All right. So, Anthony, we'll start with you for this final one. If you could only see one show for the rest of your life, but you can see it as many times as you want, what would you see?
Full Moon, Bill Irwin's totally wordless improv show / clown show with the Raycliffe Ramblers playing songs as he and David Schreiner do improv audience interjections that are clown scenes. It's the best thing I still have ever seen. Yeah, FOOLMOON. Full Moon. It's the reason why I do improv.
Wow. Aneesa.
Yeah. Well, freestyle and Supreme, or but I would have to do it. Like, you can't do it. I'm gonna get on stage. I'm going to Kanye West. You're Taylor Swift. Which we can't even say his name anymore. So beep that out. And I also do a show called Synth Probe sometimes, where they kind of do what you just did, where they get a title of a new musical from the audience, just whatever, and then you just do it. And that's pretty fun to watch because somehow it always works. And they have like a full keys players, guitar and woodwind section, and a drummer, and they improvise the whole thing. It's insane.
Are you on the team with Josh Lehman? Wow.
All of my life.
Oh, I love that man. All right. When you're back in New York, I'm gonna come see you both. I gotta see that.
Him.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for doing this. Everybody, please check out Co-Founders in the Bay Area and hopefully here in New York one day soon. Fingers crossed. Where can we find you both on social media? Anthony?
Two Touch FLS on the old Instagramables.
I'm Aneesa Folds, ANEESAFOLDS.
On the IGs. I'm on IGs, Threads, TikToks, and Fatchy Books. Leave a rating review wherever you're listening now. It helps the podcast grow. Thanks to Jukebox the Ghost for the intro, outro music. Aneesa and Anthony, oh my God. Thank you both so much again. Hopefully we'll do like 3, 4, 5 episodes.
You call us, Alan, we'll be there.
Take a deep breath, make the world a little colorful.